Unit 2, Lesson 3, Complex Fractions and Unit Rates. Our essential question is, what property of math is used to simplify complex fractions? Now you're going to have to take careful notes to find out what property it is. I'll mention it a bunch of times. So let's take a look at what complex fractions are. A fraction where the numerator, the denominator, or both, underline both, contain a fraction. And you can see here that we have this weird looking thing here. We have this bar right here, which is longer. Look how long, much longer this bar from here to here is longer than this bar from here to here. And so you look at the length of the fraction bar and see which one's most important. It's this one right here in the middle that I highlighted. That is a fraction or division bar. This bar right here is the longest of the three. It's a division bar, and this one is the longest of the two there. Now the top number, you can see, can be, it's always a numerator. It could be one number, what you're used to seeing, or it can be a fraction. A half could be the numerator, or even another example of a half. Now the bottom, the denominators, you can see, like what you're used to, seeing one number down below. That's known as the denominator. Or the denominator can be a fraction, like 1/3. Here's another example of 1/3. All right, and so what we do with these is we just do what we learned in elementary school. This looks complex, but all it's saying is 5 is divided by 1/3. Write it down here. 5 is divided by 1/3. That's exactly what it's saying. You probably heard your teacher say this before, but even the division sign has a fraction bar right here in the middle with a number up on top, this dot, and a number on below. It looks like a fraction even. So let's go ahead and deal with 5 divided by 1/3. We make 5 into a fraction, and then you go back to elementary school, and here's your answer for your essential question. You're going to use the multiplicative inverse property. That's keeping the first one, changing your division sign into multiplication, and flipping over or reciprocating 1/3 into 3/1. When you multiply these two together, you're going to get 15/1, which is 15. Let's practice again on this complex fraction. This is saying 1/2 divided by the long bar here, divided by 1/3. So then we just go back to elementary school and we keep the first one, we change the division sign into multiplication, and then we reciprocate or flip the 3/1. And when you multiply all the way across, you get 3/2. And then the last one, 1/2 divided by 4. So make 4 into a fraction. And you keep the first one, change it to multiplication, and then reciprocate 4/1 to 1/4, and then you multiply. That's going to be 1/8, 1/8. All right, so I said it 3 times already, the answer to the essential question. Maybe you can even jot it down over here. It's called the multiplicative inverse property. Multiplicative inverse property. Now I abbreviated those two words, and you guys know them as, I think, KFC or KCF, something that you're, some way of remembering it, but this is actually the real deal. Okay, so let's go down into this table here. Now here's some reminders from our last lesson. K is always equal to, hopefully you remember, y divided by x. And the equation for the COPs are y equals k, lowercase k, x. Remember what k is? It's the COP, the constant of proportionality. So making note of that, you can even write that out to help your memory. In this table, we have a bunch of things going on. We have PE fitness test results, and they're recorded in minutes and miles. We have our X and our Y. So we're going to take a look at our X, or our independent. Now, independent usually has to do with time. So put the word time up here. And you can see in this table we have minutes, 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 and minutes. So this right here are our X values for our table. So 15 is 15. 15 and a half we're going to change by doing this. Remember doing this in elementary school? 2 times 15 is 30, plus the leftover 1 on top is 31 halves. 20 is 20. Do this again. 2 times 6 is 12, plus the 1 on top is 13 halves. And that takes care of all of our independent, or our X values. Now the other ones here are dependent. So it depends on how many minutes you're running. It's going to tell you how many miles you've gone. And so right here, these are all dependent on the time. So we're going to change all of these into our Y. So we'll change this one. 2 times 1 is 2, plus the 1 on top is 3 over 2. 2 is 2. 3 times 2 is 6, plus the 1 on top is 7/3. And 7/8 is all ready to go. So 7/8. So now we have our X values and we have our Y values, and we want to find what the unit rates are. So how do you find your unit rates? Well, you always do Y divided by X. So let's go ahead and begin that. So we're going to take our Y first, which is 3 over 2. We're going to divide it by the X value, 15. Now 15 over 1 would be 15 as a fraction. And then you're going to keep flip change, or the multiplicative inverse property. So you keep the first one, multiply, and then flip the second one, reciprocate it. Now look for an opportunity to cross reduce, and you can see 3 and 15. 3 goes into 3 once, 3 goes into 15 5 times. That's going to help, and that's going to be 1/10. All right, let's do the next one. Our Y here is 2 over 1. So we're going to write 2 over 1 divided by our X value of 31 over 2. And then we are going to keep the first one, change it to multiplication, and reciprocate 31 over 2 to 2 over 31. We'll look to cross reduce, and there are no opportunities there. So 2 times 2 is 4 over 31. The next one is 7/3. Is our Y value, always comes first. See, the Y is being divided by the X, is being divided by 20 over 1. So we'll keep the first one, and then we'll change it to multiplication. We will reciprocate 20 over 1 to be 1 over 20. We'll look to cross reduce, and there are no opportunities. So 7 times 1 is 7 over 3 times 20 is 60. And our last one, 7/8, divided by 13 halves. So that's 7/8 times 2 over 13. And look at that, we have an opportunity to cross reduce the 2 and the 8. Now 2 goes into both, 2 goes into 2 once, and 2 goes into 8 4 times. Now we'll multiply. 7 times 1 is 7, and 4 times 13 is 52. on your calculator. All right, now these are unit rates, but they're hard to compare. Like, which one is fastest? It's very difficult to compare because their denominators are all different. If they were the same, it'd be easy, but they aren't. So what we're going to do is we're going to make them all into decimals with our calculators. So when you do this one, 1 divided by 10 is 1/10. And that's going to be miles per 1 minute. That's our unit rate. 1/10 of a mile in 1 minute. This next one with our calculators is going to be 4 divided by 31. So we just type that in. And out comes, I'll go to the third decimal point and round it. 9. Rounded to the hundredths. No, thousandths, excuse me. This is miles per minute. Next one, 7 divided by 60. I'll round this one as well to the thousandths place. And that's miles per minute. And the last one, 7 divided by 52. I'll round again, miles per minute. Now you can see the most amount of length covered in 1 minute would be this one down here. That's first place. They're going at the fastest rate. The second one would be, the second one actually, this is second place. And then you have third, then you have the slowest up here, fourth. So those are the unit rates for those PE fitness test results. Alright, so now you know all about how to work with complex fractions. You also know that you're reading the bars here, which one's the longest, and you can see that this bar right here is the longest, so that's 3/4 divided by 8. And so up in this space, you're going to go 3/4 divided by 8 as a fraction, so 8 over 1. And then you're going to drop down and use the multiplicative inverse property, 3/4 times 1 over 8. Always look to see if you have an opportunity to cross reduce, and you don't. So 3 times 1 is 3, and 4 times 8 is 32. Okay, so pause the video and try B now. Okay, here's B. It actually equaled 1, and you might have saw that it already was 1 because it's a quarter divided by a quarter. Whenever you have a number divided by itself, it is always 1. So hopefully you saw that before you went through all the trouble of doing 1/4 divided by 1/4, keeping the first one, changing the division sign into multiplication, and then reciprocating the fraction. I cross-reduced and I got 1 over 1, which is 1. Go ahead and pause the video, but before you do, remember you have to do something to this. Multiply and then, multiply, and then add the top. So pause the video and try that out. Alright, the answer is 5/24. So make sure you're doing your math right, that you're knowing how to do this. Remember, always ask your teacher if you're having struggles or you're not quite understanding. When you don't ask questions and you just copy the notes, there is no way you're going to learn how to do this on your own. You probably have experienced that in past tests and lessons. So make sure that you are either rewinding or asking for help. Try D. Okay, the answer for D is 63 seconds. So hopefully you've had great success with A, B, C, and D, and now you are ready to go down into the test readiness check. Now, in this section, we have a lot of complex fractions going on, so you're practicing that, and you're going back and you're looking at finding the COP. also known as the k. And how do we find that? We do y divided by x. So you'll find the COP, and you got to check all of them. On F, well, we'll get to F. Why don't you just do E first? Pause the video and find the COP of E now. All right, went through all the process using the multiplicative inverse property and found that they are all 1/3, and so that I know the COP is 1/3. All right, it's time for F now. It says fill in the table. This one you have missing pieces. You have hours and money, and remember, your hours, time, is usually the x value. So this is your x's, and these are your y's. So there's only one spot here to find your COP, what you need. So use this one right here. Pause now and try it. All right, here you can see the tables are filled in now. This one was $2, $31.50, and $5.50. So you can see my work here. If you want to find, if you have a missing x, you had to divide by the COP, which was 9. I did all the work right here with these two. 1350 over 1 divided by 3 over 2. Changed it to multiplication, and then reciprocated 3 over 2 to 2/3. Multiplied to get 27 over 3 to get 9 as my COP. That's how I got it, using those two right there. Then, to transform my x's into my y's, I multiply by the COP, and to transform my y's into x's, I divide by the COP. So you may need to pause the video and look through that. Ask questions if you're not understanding. Okay, moving on to G. G also has a table that has missing x's and y's. On G, though, it says write an equation. So you're going to have to find the COP or the k, and the only way to do that is if you have both the x and the y. So that's your spot there to find the x and the y. And then on H has the same type of problem, and you got to find your COP or your k with those two. So go ahead and pause the video and do G and H now. Okay, on G, we came back, we found out that the COP or k value is 1/6. And then we wrote our equation, y is equal to k, which is 1/6 x. We used our k value, our COP, to find the missing boxes. So we took our x's and multiplied by the COP. And we took our y's and we divided by the COP, or k value. Now for H. So we always want to make sure that we are doing y, which is 2 here, 2 as a fraction, divided by our x. We have to change this into a fraction. So 2 times 10 is 20, plus the 1 is 21 seconds. So 2 over 1, multiplication, and reciprocate. We look to cross reduce, and there's no way to do that, so that's 4 over 21. So this is our COP, our k value. So y is equal to 4/21 x, which is a crazy fraction, but that's what it is. So if we multiply our x values, which is our minutes, by 4 over 21, we will get 2. So we'll multiply 4 over 21 by the 28, and you can see we can cross reduce the 28 and 21. 7 goes into both. 7 goes into 21 3 times, and 7 goes into 28 4 times. And that's 16/3. And going up here, we're going to divide by the COP. So divide by 4/21. So I'll move down here. That's 1 as a fraction, multiplication, and I will flip that fraction over, 21 over 4, and get 21/4. Now 21/4 can be made back into a mixed number to understand what this means. So 4 goes into 21 5 times, and you have a leftover of 1. So that's 5 1/4 minutes.